Well, hello, everybody out there. Welcome to another episode of Horror Talks with Nisi and May. Now, if y'all don't know, we are at episode 6, I believe. First episode, we talked about Scream. We broke it down scene by scene and talked about what made it so iconic and all the moving pieces that made it to be what it is. Episode 2, we talked about Scream 2 and how it was a fan favorite. It was my personal favorite. I actually liked Scream 2 more than I liked Scream 1. But I was a little biased because I went to see Scream 2 in the movie theaters before I had ever seen the first Scream. So I was a little biased about that. But it was great. I enjoyed it. I was terrified and just as much shocked at how the movie played out. I was on the ropes the whole time, didn't know who the killer was. And even rewatching it over 20 years later, man, I gotta say that this movie, it didn't disappoint. Now, where things take a turn in the franchise is when we talk about Scream 3. And my God, was that movie just god awful? It was bad pretty much from start to finish. And Nisi and I we dived into that deep. We went in on them, especially Gale's bangs. Just god awful, terrible. But things in the franchise move forward. And we get to Scream 4, and it is a breath of fresh air into the Scream franchise. So we picked up some steam. Scream 4 came 11 years after Scream 3. So, you know, at that time it was like the franchise was dead, but Scream 4 revived it very, very well. So that was episode 4 of the podcast of the show. And then episode 5, we took a little bit of a turn because episode 5 that week was Valentine's Day week. So we decided to talk about Valentine, the true underrated, not good, not bad, but slasher movie Valentine. And do y'all remember that creepy ass mask? That was the only thing I can remember about the movie. And when I rewatched it, I was like, yeah, I see why this movie was very forgettable. So that was episode 5. Here we are at episode 6, and we are going to be talking about Scream 5. So Nisi is coming in right now. I want y'all to welcome her in.
Hello.
Hey, hey, hey. So I was just giving everybody a bit of a recap of episodes 1 through 5 about how we talked about Scream, Scream 2, Scream 3, Scream 4, and Valentine. So here we are, finally at Scream 5. I feel like we are building up such a good, like, we got a good build up of like this new release of this new movie.
Oh yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. And rewatching Scream 5 was a fun time. I went into it the first time I watched Scream 5. I went into it really wanting to hate this movie. Not gonna lie. I went into it like I had a notepad and everything. Like, I'm gonna talk shit about this movie. I'm gonna take notes. I'm about to really review this movie so hard. And I was taken aback. It exceeded my expectations. So it was good. That was my first impression of my first watch of it. What did you think the first time you watched it?
I didn't like anything about it when I first watched it. It wasn't until the second time I watched it that I started seeing things that I actually liked about it.
Hmm.
But the first time I watched it, I was like, "This is terrible. Like,
So here we
what are we doing here?"
are. So here we are. We had different, first expectations of it, and here we are at the same thing where it's like, okay, it wasn't that bad. Um, they definitely had some twists and turns, but watching it again, it felt like a lot was kind of forced in our face, but not forced in our face, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I know
they,
exactly what you're talking about.
yeah, like they forced a lot on this being, but we'll get into that. We'll start at the beginning. So you do such a great job of, doing the breakdowns and everything. So
Um, so
could you tell us who wrote it, who directed it, how much it made, all that good jazz?
all right, so let me pull up my notes here. I know the company itself is Radio Silence. I don't know if they like split that up into uh actual directors. I just know that's the people that made it. Hold on,
Hmm.
because my internet is running hella slow today. I'm struggling, y'all.
That's all right.
Okay, so it's directed by Matt Bettinelli Oakland and Tyler Gillett, which makes up Radio Silence. So it was written by James Vanderbilt and Guy Busick, based on characters by Kevin Williamson. And of course, it stars Marissa Barrera, who's Sam, Mason Gooding, who is Chad, Jenna Ortega, who is Tara, Jack Quaid, which is Richie, Marley Shelton, Deputy Judy, Courtney Cox, Gale Weathers, David Arquette, Dewey, and then you've got Nev Campbell, of course, who is Sidney. It has a runtime of 114 minutes. The budget was 24 million. Box office is 140 million, which is why it was automatically greenlit for a part 6.
I mean, hey, them numbers don't sound bad.
Yes. So, so the company's called Radio Silence. So that's who I'll be referring to because I will not be saying their names.
Yeah.
I'll just go by the company. So it came out January 14th, 2022. So I didn't get to go see this one in theaters. I was very heavily pregnant and I was not going. But we caught it on demand after the baby was
I
born.
mean,
I did.
listen, I last year I was not trying to be in nobody's movie theater.
No.
So I was like, stream it. Like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna watch it on streaming.
Like I'm already like I was all excited about going to see it in theaters until I realized that like all the price gougers bought all the ghost face popcorn buckets
Yep.
and that I'm probably not gonna fucking get one.
Yep. 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 It was crazy. It was
Yeah.
crazy.
But we have our opening. So I mean I'm just gonna tell y'all right off the bat, like this is spoiler territory. So if you don't want to know anything once it's so recent, then this is not the episode for you.
Yep.
But everything that you're going to see for the next 114 minutes is going to literally be some type of homage, copy paste, or redirect from part 1. So just know that going into the movie.
Yep.
You're getting a lot of Easter eggs thrown at you from literally the first opening shot of the house.
Yep.
As soon as it popped on, because like I said, we rewatched it on Sunday. Courtney was like, "That's the house from the first one," and I was like, "No, it's not. It just looks like it."
Yep. Yep. Yep.
But we get inside, and Tara, who is Jenna Ortega, Tara, her landline rings, and then that was my first thought was who has a fucking landline. So I already knew what kind of movie we was in for. I already knew we were in for a very convenient plot device movie, and I was like, who has a landline in 2022?
Exactly.
But anyway, her landline rings, but she is texting her friend Amber about coming over, and the only way she can get Amber to come over is the unlocked liquor cabinet, which was funny, like when you pause it to read it.
Yeah.
So she gets annoyed and she finally answers the landline, and it's this guy who says he's from her mom's group, and his name is Charlie, which I thought was funny because part 4 was Charlie Walker was one of the killers.
Yep.
So she's like, what group are you in? I need to know. And he's like trying to not tell her, and then he starts chatting her up about, oh, you sound just like your mother described, which sucks her in. And she's like, what did my mom say about me?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, oh, that you're smart and creative and that you love movies and especially horror movies. And then we get the what's your favorite scary movie line.
Yep. They wasn't subtle with that at all. It was
No.
just
like I could picture the movie theater when he's like, so what's your favorite scary? Everybody going, ah!
Yeah.
Like I could tell, I heard the dramatic pause.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And she tells him that she likes the Babadook.
Oh yeah.
And it's this whole conversation they have back and forth about elevated horror because she doesn't do slashers. She only likes intelligent horror movies.
Right.
Which like barf me. Like I'm
Right.
so tired of that conversation online. I mean, I'll give them cool points for like incorporating all the bullshit people say online into this movie.
Yeah.
I do like that about it, but yes, it's an elevated horror. So she hangs up because she's like, you're getting creepy pretty much. And she's texting Amber and her landline rings again and it pops up from Amber's number saying you should answer that. And she texts her, "How do you know my landline's ringing?" But she picks up the phone anyway, and it's Ghostface again. And he sends her a video of him watching Amber in her window.
Yeah.
And he tells her if she doesn't play this game, that Amber's gonna die. So, we get our obligatory game, but instead this time he's asking her about the Stab movies.
Yeah.
Right? So he asked her about who's the main character, and she's like Sidney Prescott, and he's like, oh, that's an easy one, anyone could have got that one. And then he asked about who played Casey Becker, and she IMDb's it, and it says Heather Graham, so she gets that one right.
Yep.
And then he asked her who were the killers in Stab 1, and she's like, Billy Loomis. It's Billy Loomis. I got you, you fucker, I got you.
Right.
And he's like, no, I'm sorry, you're wrong. It was Billy Loomis and Stu Macher in part 1, which I'm just like, you live in Woodsboro, bitch. Like, that was like my first, like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this moment, because they already started off acting like Stu didn't exist, and I just will not stand for any Stu slander.
Yes, like that's why I was like, God damn, like they really just like Stu did not even exist, and I hated that. Like, bruh, give Stu some fucking credit. He was the crazy one really behind all that.
Forget giving him credit. Fine, you want to give it all to Billy Loomis, give it all to Billy Loomis. But most of the killings happened in his house. So how is he not even about the conversation? Let's start there, okay? Look, let's just keep it real. He was finer than Billy. He was more funnier than Billy. He was more popular than Billy. So how is it nobody talks about Stu?
Yeah, I hate that they do Stu like this every movie though.
Yes,
every single movie they do Stu so bad, and I'm just like, give that motherfucker his credit.
So she drops the phone. And it's like he tells her he's going to go get Amber, and she's like, Amber, I'm coming. She grabs a butcher knife. She runs to the front door, and Ghostface is at the front door.
Mm-hmm.
And she punches him. Like, she really punches this man in the face, her little wafy ass.
Right.
And she gets him out the door, and she locks the door with her automatic system on her phone, but it keeps unlocking itself, which means somebody has hacked into her system.
Yeah.
They call back, and she answers the phone. And, he's playing the cat and mouse game with her. I mean, you already know that the Ghostface is in the house, right? Like, if you watch these movies, you already know what's coming.
We already know.
And she backs into the doorway, and Ghostface just stabs her. Because Ghostface already cut her in the stomach at the front door.
Right.
But he stabs her from behind. And probably since the first one, probably one of the most brutal killings we've gotten, quote unquote. Because like they stab her repeatedly, and then they stomp her leg and break her fucking calf.
Yeah, that was rough. That was rough to watch.
And she kind of like knocks him out, and he hits his head on the counter, and she's trying to get away, but she had already called the police at the front door. So the police are on their way, and she's crawling away, and you hear the sirens, and you see the lights flashing through the house, and he like raises the knife above his head, and then we get our title card.
Yep.
So you are assuming the worst with Tara.
Yeah. I thought she was gone. I'm not gonna lie, but the fact that they didn't show it, they kept a lot of like open endings where
like in the Scream universe, if you don't see the body, then they're not dead.
Exactly.
We cut to Sam and her boyfriend, and Sam lives in Modesto. Sam is taking her pills. And her boyfriend comes out to see what she's doing. They work at a bowling alley. And Richie's like, what are you taking? And she's like, my boner pills. And he's like, you're my boner pill. And I'm just like, this is what we're doing?
Yeah. I didn't like him from jump. And I never had a good feeling about the boyfriend from Jump Street.
This is what sucks, right? Because he's a Quaid, right?
Yeah.
So this is Dennis Quaid's son and Randy Quaid's nephew, which means he comes from like a great acting pedigree, right? Yeah. And he looks like a Quaid. Like, he looks just like them.
Yeah, he does. He does.
I don't think they gave him good dialogue to work with.
Oh, shoot. What happened? Uh-oh. What happened? Oh, my bad.
I say you
My
okay,
bad.
take me out.
My
But no,
bad.
they didn't give him like good dialogue. I feel like he got wasted. I feel like he's probably a better talent than what they wrote for him.
Mm-hmm.
Because like all of his lines were like Freddy Krueger Part 6
Yeah. Very,
dialogue.
very cliche. Where I was like, who wrote this shit?
Like they were trying to make him a comic relief, but like he doesn't seem like he is a comedic person. Like he just didn't deliver it well.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. But Sam gets the call from Wes, one of the kids that she babysat in Woodsboro, one of Tara's friends, that Tara's been attacked.
Yep.
So she's like, I gotta go back. And he's like, I'm coming with you because I'm the supportive boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And they go back. Um so we meet our cast of new characters. Yawn, but we'll get into it.
Yep.
Um some of the most uncharismatic children ever.
I didn't root for any of them. It was hard for me to root for to like any of these kids.
See, and
To root
this is
for
where
them.
I feel like people are gonna get off the Niecy train, and that's fine. I mean, the cheese stands alone. I'm used to it. So we're introduced to Liv, her boyfriend Chad, Mindy, his twin sister, but not really. Like obviously not twins. Wes and Amber, and this is Tara's friend circle.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all discussing what happened to Tara. Chad is trying his best to get Liv to have sex with him because, you know, they might die. He is a football player. And they're all talking about Tara's attack. And Amber's like, but you've got bruises on your arm, Chad. And Tara apparently fought back really hard, which I'm trying to understand, you know, A, how would you know that? But anyway,
Mm-hmm.
so this guy, Vince, rolls up who apparently is stalking Liv. Guy her and Tara worked with over the summer. She had a fling with. He's not taking no for an answer, and he's just stalking her.
Yeah.
Right. Wes tells them that he let Sam know that Tara got hurt, and Amber's like, everything's gonna get worse now. And you know, Mindy's just all gung ho because something fucked up has happened in Woodsboro, and she's already talking about the girl being dead.
Right.
She may not survive her injuries. Just off of the first introduction, I wasn't really feeling any of them.
Yeah.
But you know, Deputy Judy is there, and Wes is her son, and she's interrogating everybody. You know, I hate her, which is sad because I really like Wes.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the only character out of the new characters that I really did enjoy.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Wes. He was so sweet and thoughtful, and he was like, "Hey, weapon up, tasers, mace. Don't go outside alone." Like he was really trying to like break it down. Like y'all need to stay safe.
He was. He really was.
They go to the hospital to see Tara. Now, mind you, we're like 30 minutes in.
Mm-hmm.
Still no legacy characters, people. So you're not going to see them for like the first hour, pretty much.
Yeah. The first act is really just
introducing the characters and what's been going on in Woodsboro.
Yep.
So they go to Tara's hospital side, and Sam and Richie show up, and automatically it's just tense and awkward.
Mm-hmm.
Sam introduces Richie to Wes. She's like, yeah, I used to babysit them. She gives Wes a hug. She gives Mindy and Chad a hug. So those are the Meeks twins. By Meeks, we mean Randy Meeks' niece and nephew.
Right.
Martha Meeks still lives in Woodsboro, and we're just going to, which I don't understand why we didn't have this conversation. Okay, so, you know, as Black people, I have to say this. So we're just not even going to talk about how Martha fucked the only guy in Woodsboro. Only Black dude in Woodsboro.
I'm just saying.
Like no Black people in Woodsboro ever. But like she found the one Negro to have babies with.
Yep. And then we don't even see this nigga. We don't even see this
don't
nigga.
Get me wrong. Like I stand a woke ally. It's just we weren't even going to talk about it. Like they didn't even give us a snippet of like they didn't even give us a whole like okay like when we're going over the rules and stuff, like we'll get to that. I have thoughts about this because then that's when we see Martha again. But yeah, like we don't even talk about that. So the Meeks twins are there. She introduces them. She introduces Liv.
Yep.
And when she gets to Amber, she's like, "Oh, hey," and this is Amber.
Yep.
And Amber is already like giving her all the shade. Like I understand.
Yeah.
Like you hurt my best friend, so I don't fuck with you. But like at a time like this.
Yeah, that's where it was like,
But then, like, she's like
it's
supposed to be 17, 18, whatever, so it's whatever.
yeah,
But I really don't like Amber's character. Like, I
yeah.
do not like Amber. First of all, she looks like a Keebler elf. I said it. There's something wrong with her face.
Something is up. Like it just ain't right. It just ain't right. Like
I shouldn't be able to guess your villain based off of her beady eyes.
Yep. I hated it. I
There
hated
was
anytime.
no part of me that was like, oh, this can't be Amber. No, I knew from the moment she walked on the scene, I was like, this is the killer.
Mm-hmm.
The way she played this character was just not subtle. It was so in your face.
Yeah.
And I understand Scream is meta commentary. And I'm not saying that they haven't always put the killers in plain sight, but this wasn't even plain sight. This was like a neon eat at Joe's sign that was
Like,
like,
hey,
oh, it's me.
like right, like waving, hey guys, yeah.
Like, there was nothing about her character that
Yeah.
didn't seem like evil or vindictive or nasty or
Right.
capable of this shit. So let's
Mm-hmm.
just, when she saw Sam, she looked like she wanted to kill Sam. So
Yeah.
at no point did I not think it was her.
Yeah. She was a dead giveaway. And I'm not sure. Do you think it was just the way her character was written, or do you think it's just because of her as
No,
an
I
actor?
firmly believe it's how she was portrayed, and I don't understand. Like, I understand like people get their foot in the door for a reason,
Mm-hmm.
and like Mikey Madison played one of like the Manson cultists in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and I'm
Yeah.
sure that's based off how creepy she looks.
Yeah. Yeah.
She just, it was very flat for me.
Mm-hmm.
There was no charisma. There was nothing. Like, when her and Richie met, that was a very funny scene for me. Them trying to pretend like they don't know each other. Because spoiler alert, Richie is the other killer. Also very obvious when you watch the movie that he's the other killer.
Yeah.
On the way up to Modesto, he's telling her, "Well, I've never seen the stab movies." As she's like explaining all what could be happening.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've never seen any of the stab movies, and it's like, yeah, right,
I told you he was creepy from the first
right.
interaction. He just seemed like, and he always popped up
He was just
right
too, he
after.
was too
Like
nice.
it was just too. Yeah, it was just too.
Whereas Derek was too nice, but it was
Mm-hmm.
believable. He was
Mm-hmm.
too nice, but looked like he could possibly like SA you. Like,
Yeah,
it was so
like he's waiting
disingenuous.
for his chance to SAU. Like
Yeah, it was so
waiting around.
disingenuous.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But whatever. So everybody leaves the room so her and Tara can talk, because she hasn't seen Tara in over 5 years. She packed up her shit at 18 and got the hell out of there, but nobody knows why. And apparently she was a juvenile delinquent before she left.
Mm-hmm.
So they're in the hospital getting reacquainted. Richie's there. The kids go to a bar. Now, mind you, these kids are like at most 18, right? Like, we're talking seniors in high school.
Mm-hmm.
How are they drinking at a bar? Anybody want to chime in the comments about this one, of how it's possible that they were in a bar setting with other adults playing pool and passing around a flask and didn't get kicked out until Chad almost got into a fight with Vince?
Yeah, I never understood that either, because I'm like, Woodsboro ain't but so big, so everybody know everybody. You know,
One of the people there is the sheriff's son.
exactly. You know, it's like,
But they're there talking about, Sam.
yeah,
And Amber's giving them the details about how, like, oh, she abandoned Tara and she's a terrible person. And like,
just painted her so wrong. Like, girl,
so wrong.
so wrong.
So wrong. And for everyone to like love the Mindy Meeks character, like, we got nothing from her for the first 30, 40 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Just her and Chad just there, her, Chad, and Liv. Vince shows up again. Chad's trying to defend her honor. Vince pulls out a knife, and that's what gets them kicked out of the bar. Okay, cool. So they leave the bar. Vince is outside taking a pee, and someone turns his Charger on. It's a Dodge Charger, of course. And someone turns his car on with the high beams playing this loud ass music. He goes to investigate. Someone stuck a screwdriver in the car because it's an old muscle car. You can do that.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets attacked from behind by Ghostface. In front, my pretty cool shot. I will give it credit. In front of the headlights on the ground, it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
They say that he's dead, but you don't really, you know what I mean? Like, but they confirm later on that he's dead.
Yeah.
So out of the 2 attacks that we've gotten, only one person's gotten killed thus far.
Yeah. And we are like, how far in the movie?
Right. Good 25, 30 minutes.
Yeah. Still, this was the worst 30 minutes. Like come on. Like it dragged. That first 30 minutes
Yeah.
dragged on.
So we go back to the hospital. Sam is sleeping next to Tara. Richie is watching stab movies on Netflix. Right. Sam goes to the bathroom, and this is when I was like, the first time I watched it and the second time, I was, and understand, like, for anybody listening, I am not like a nostalgia snob. If you can give me something better or that adds to it, I'll willingly accept it.
Yeah.
Like the Candyman remake, I absolutely love that remake.
Chef's kiss.
Right? Even though most people hate it, I loved it because it gave me something.
Yep.
I was very open-minded about this.
Yep.
So when we get and we already know that Billy Loomis was going to show up at some point in the movie because it got spoiled, right? So we already knew what was coming. Yep. If you're smart enough to put 1 + 1 + 2, so you knew the fake child angle was coming. I mean, like the illegitimate child, because there's nowhere else to go in a horror movie, right?
Yep.
So when you get to her in the bathroom and we get the Billy Loomis hallucination, it didn't work in Scream 3. It didn't work in Scream 3. Stop making people hallucinate dead parents.
Right.
Let me get even closer. Stop making people hallucinate dead parents in clothes that weren't there.
Especially Billy fucking Loomis.
She wasn't even born yet. How the fuck did she know what he wore the night he died?
Come on. Talk about it.
Anybody can tell me that.
Talk about it. And for them to use that as a crutch, I felt like that was just very lazy writing.
Okay, I can buy into the fact that, like, your father is a psychopath and your grandmother too, because Debbie, Mrs. Loomis, is a psychopath. This is a genetic trait.
Yep.
Totally buy into that, which is why she was taking the pills. Totally buy into that. What you didn't have to do is hold up a huge red flag to tell me that she's crazy or that something's going on with her psychotically. There is something called subtlety and subtext that I feel like when people talk about the golden era of horror and that 80s and 90s horror, it's because everything was done in subtext. That means, people, that you had to read between the lines and some shit.
You had to think about it.
You got to put everything all up in front of your face nowadays for people to understand the message. The message could have been taken just fine without the hallucination.
Yep. Foreshadowing could have been done. It's almost like they didn't really get the foundation of what it takes to tell a story, to write, like writing.
Right.
Foreshadowing is like something that's like chef's kiss on. If you can foreshadow some shit, you can really, you got to leave breadcrumbs for the audience.
We're gonna get to how this could have worked.
Yeah,
this whole angle could have worked. Okay, so she sees a hallucination. She walks out the room. Richie's gone. Right.
So coincidentally,
Tara's in there sleeping.
Yep.
Sam steps out. Sam gets a phone call from Ghostface. Okay, and Ghostface is telling her, "Hey, I know your secret, bitch. Shit's about to get real." Right, and you guys know I'm paraphrasing. Like, I'm never gonna give you quote for quote, but yeah, pretty much. I know your secret, and I'm about to finish this once and for all. Right, and she gets attacked by Ghostface in like the little cafeteria area where the coffee and the vending machines are. Yep. Nobody's nowhere to be found. The cop inside of her room's nowhere to be found. No one's nowhere to be found. Right.
I've never seen a hospital so empty like that.
They're always empty. They're always empty. But right, and like people who actually worked in like hospital settings, like when there's like 40 people roaming around. But yeah, like no janitor, nobody emptying the trash,
nobody,
no family member of another patient oversharing their story. None of that.
Absolutely, none of that.
She gets attacked. She gets away. And Deputy Judy shows up. It's like, hey, we're going to put more cops on the room. Richie's there. Amber's there. And Sheriff's like, okay, where were you at, Richie? And he's like, pointing at Amber going, well, it could have been her. And Amber was like, well, I was with Deputy Judy getting questioned about the murder across town. Where were you? And he was like, I was sitting here watching Netflix. And Amber's like, well, I guess that type of alibi might work. Like, they're just talking shit to each other, pointing each other out. Which is so stupid when you realize that they were both like involved in this. Because then it's like, okay, y'all was trying too hard to like go at each other. Y'all could have just not spoke.
And it would have been believable.
Maybe I've just been cheated on too many times. But if I'm like, you just met this bitch and y'all keep having that type of dialogue, like y'all don't even like each other, but y'all ain't never met before, I'm like, what's the problem? Because you don't even know her.
You already know. Side eye. Like, what?
That's beef you have with somebody you don't like.
Exactly.
You got problems with. Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So Amber and Richie leave. Judy tells Sam outside, like, yeah, I remember you. You caused a lot of family problems for your family. Maybe you and your boyfriend need to go home and let people who really care about this town take care of it.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I hate Deputy Judy, because she oversteps her fucking boundaries every time.
Every
Let
time.
my brother be in the fucking hospital after being attacked. I don't give a shit if I took a dump on your front porch. If you tell me to leave, I'm gonna beat your ass.
That's why. And that's why she ugh.
You gonna tell me to leave my family because you don't like my presence because some shit that I did 6 years ago.
Right.
Like
Deputy Judy never tried to get us on her side. She
Never.
never tried to get us on her side. Like, bitch, here you go again. That's why Gale should have slapped you.
Right. So Sam like kind of blows her off and it's like, yeah, that's just like old times. She asks Richie to leave, Amber leave, and then we get our exposition, right? We've been waiting for the moment. She tells Tara why she left home.
Yep.
So, you guys ready for this? Okay. Strap on your leader hosen because we're about to yodel. At the end of the day, this bitch with tears in her eyes. And mind you, this whole movie, Melissa Barrera playing Sam is so flat and wooden. She doesn't emote well. Like, she has the same emotion for everything except this one scene. This scene, she gives us a little something. She gives us some tears and some breakdown. But it's giving very much Nancy from Nightmare on Elm Street 2010. Like just no flavor.
Yeah.
Like this is our final girl. This is the girl story that we're following, and we're not even on her side because she's so damn boring.
Just so boring.
Okay. So she tells Tara, okay, well, I was 13 and I was upstairs in the attic and I was looking through mom's stuff and I was thinking, oh, cool. I found mom's diary and I read it because I was wondering how her and dad got together in high school and how they got pregnant with me. And I just wanted to see what it was about. Totally makes sense. She reads in the diary that her dad is not her dad. The guy that has been married to her mother all this time, that she's married since high school, this is not her father. She goes downstairs to question her mother about who her real father is. We'll call her stepfather, is behind her coincidentally, of course, and overhears that he's not Sam's real father. Okay, so he breaks up with their mom that night, leaves, which turns into Sam and Tara's mom becoming an alcoholic and, a slut.
Yep.
Right. Very Maureen Prescott.
I mean, they had to include that somehow.
Slide that in there.
They had to slide that in there because it's not a true Scream movie without a little misogyny. Just a little.
Just a tinkle.
Sprinkle. They got to sprinkle a little bit of misogyny in there,
So he finds out that her father is Billy Loomis. Right. Now, she dumps all this on this girl while she's in the hospital all fucked up.
Yeah. Perfect timing, right?
Perfect timing. And she's like, somebody knows and they're trying to kill me because of it. And I didn't tell you because you were so young. So at the time, Tara was 8, she was 13. She's like, I didn't tell you because you were young. Mom made me promise not to tell you. So I started just taking every drug I could get my hands on and causing trouble. And then when I turned 18, I got the fuck out of here. Now, the realest shit in this movie, Tara was like, so you gonna just now tell me this? What's that got to do with me? Like, you left me over some shit we could have talked about.
She could have wrote a letter. Something.
5 years.
She could have did something.
Right? So, Tara's like, get the fuck out. Point blank period. Get out. So, we then cut to Sam being like, all right, we got to go get some help. We can't do this alone. So, they end up going to find Dewey.
Of course. Right. Here we go. Finally. Like, God damn. Finally.
So they go and find Dewey. Dewey's living in like a rundown trailer. He's all hot, scruffy though. Like,
he's not doing too good after the divorce.
But he was like, if we look at Dewey from Scream 1 to Scream now, like Dewey was looking scrumptious. He had that whole
Yeah.
ruggedness that I've never seen on
Yeah.
David Arquette. I was
Yeah.
feeling it.
Yeah.
Silver fox in the beard.
Yeah.
Right. But Dewey is now he's no longer the sheriff. He had to step down.
Mhm.
He's an alcoholic.
Mhm.
Him and Gale are not married anymore, but he watches her every morning on her show.
Mhm.
Okay. So they show up, and this is probably the one time in the movie that I did really laugh out loud. Was she was knocking on the door, and he was like, "Go away." And she was like, "Can you please just talk to us? It's important." And he's like, "Give me one reason why I should talk to you." And she's like, "I'm Billy Loomis's daughter." And he just opens the door.
Mhm. How is it? I just want to interject here with just 1 second. How is this small ass town of Woodsboro where everybody seemingly knows everybody, and y'all don't know that Billy Loomis impregnated another girl?
I mean, I can buy
Who
it because I don't have
happy?
nobody checking my cycle. Like I could buy it.
I don't know, man. White
I
people
mean,
nosy.
I'm just saying, I hid my pregnancy for 4 months, my senior year of high
No,
school.
I don't know, man. White
5
people,
if you count people who didn't really know me, because I had no stomach.
white people are hella nosy though.
I know, but I mean, it could be done.
Hmm.
Or maybe she got sent away for a little bit. You don't know. Anything could have happened.
Anything, yeah, it was back in the day, so you
Yeah,
know,
this is the 90s. Anything could have happened.
yeah, they
But
they
she
they
did
could
say
have kept it
that
hush hush.
she married her boyfriend at the time because she
Mm.
was messing around with Billy. So she made him
Oh,
believe it
so
was his
she pinned it.
baby.
She pinned it. It was easy to pin it on the boyfriend
Yeah,
because you know.
that's why when he overheard the conversation, he left because he's like, I've been with this bitch since high school, and this
You
ain't my
been lying.
baby,
Yeah, she been lying the whole time. Oof, that
right?
hurts. Yeah.
So Dewey lets him in, and this is what Courtney pointed out, and especially on like that rewatch when he was like, "Oh, the boyfriend's the killer," and he was like, "Cause he looked too damn excited when he saw Dewey." For someone
He
who knows
did.
nothing about this,
He did. For somebody who knows nothing, who has never watched a stab movie.
he was way too geeked,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And they get inside and they're talking about what's going on. She's like, "Can you help me, please?" And he's
Mm-hmm.
like, "No, rule number one, always look into the love interest." And he looks at Richie, and then Richie gets like all pissed off. And I feel like this was the moment where I feel like they were going to kill Sidney. I don't think they were going to kill Dewey. I
Mm.
think this is when they decided they were going to kill Dewey because he insulted Richie.
Oh, okay. Because I was so focused on that moment. I was so focused on them giving us viewers the wink and the gun, like
Yeah, because if
it's
you really
him.
think about it, right, like, okay, this is the movie. This is what I call the scream of coincidental murder, because had Tara actually died, Sam would have came back anyway, right? But what was the guarantee that Sam was going to go look for Dewey?
Yeah.
So I don't ever think that he was a part of the plan.
Yeah. Yeah. It was too many coincidentals.
I feel like they were like, "Hey, how can we get Sidney and Gale back?"
Mm-hmm.
And then he had that run-in, and he was like, "Oh, I got, let's just kill this motherfucker because he pissed me off anyway."
Right. Because that wasn't even part of the plan. Like that was
No.
never a part of the plan.
Like how, like, and if it was, how did you know? Like, what was you like? How, like, who gave her the idea? Because you know nothing about the Stab universe or Woodsboro. You live in Modesto, so how would you know this? So where did she get it from? It's just the movie of coincidence.
Yeah.
So they talk to Dewey. Dewey's giving them the rules. You know, he's like, look in her friend circle because it's somebody there.
Yep.
It's got something to do with your past.
Yep.
And he's like, I can't help you. You're on your own. And she's like, well, if they're coming after me based off something from the past, that means your ass is on the line too, because you were a part of it too.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And he's like, yeah, I still can't help you. He shoos him away, and Richie starts calling him like Barney Fife and making fun of him and shit.
Mm-hmm.
But the first thing, which I think is really cute, that you see Tatum's ashes on the mantle. So at least we got a reference to Tatum. Nothing about Stu though, but we finally get a reference to Tatum after part one, because no one ever talked about Tatum, but we got her ashes in the background.
Yeah. Yeah.
First thing he does is he calls Sidney, and we finally get to see Sidney like 40 minutes into the movie.
I mean, the runtime, I'm trying to break this down. Okay, so the movie is only a certain amount of time.
Only
We
an hour
finally
and
get
20 minutes.
Man.
Pretty much. But, you know, Sidney is running with a stroller, And they do the reveal, and he's asking her. Now you can tell they haven't talked in a really long time because she doesn't even know that he's not the sheriff anymore. Right? But she does know that him and Gale are divorced, and she tells him like, "Hey, I'm sorry about it." And he asked about Mark, which when you realize that she married Mark from Scream 3, you're just like,
yeah.
So she married the creepy cop and had babies. Okay, whatever. And he asked her, he's like, "Do you have a gun?" And she's like, "I'm Sidney fucking Prescott. Of course I have a gun." And he tells her point blank, "I don't care what you hear or what happens. Don't come back here. You stay there."
Yes. Please.
Right?
Listen.
He begs her.
Yep.
He gets off the phone. He's about to call Gale, but I think it was just too much. So he just texts her.
Yeah.
Like, Ghostface is bad, blah, blah, blah. So,
I mean, they've been around this rodeo so many times. So it's like, listen to the man.
So, when he's talking to Sidney about, he's like, it's happening again, 2 attacks, 1 death. And he talks about, and she says, well, at least you're there to protect them. And that's what makes him go and help Sam. Because Sidney put the bug in his ear that at least you're there to help protect them. So he goes with Sam. They go to the Meeks house. This is where I circle back to my point about Mindy and all that shit. So they go to the Meeks house. Everybody's there. Wes, Liv, Chad, Mindy, Amber, Sam, Richie, Dewey, and Martha Meeks, who's serving them lemonade in like the Randy Commemorative Memorial Theater.
Of course. Of course.
And she's like, "Oh, all the murder suspects, your uncle would be so proud." And it's like, y'all are milking this for all it's worth.
Oh, yeah. Milking it till it's dry.
Right. Though I did think it was funny that her and Dewey, even though y'all both live in Woodsboro, like you haven't seen him in God knows how long. He barely recognized you. You barely recognize him. So she leaves. We get our Martha Meeks cameo again because we just can't give Martha a real part of the movie. She only gets cameos twice now, just in and out. So they watch Stab special features to get some information about Billy. Still no Stu, just Billy. And Sam starts breaking down the fact that they've concluded that it's someone in this room that's the murderer. So they're all trying to figure out who's most likely to kill somebody.
Yeah.
And Mindy is going into the whole like requel thing.
Yep.
Okay, and this is where people aren't gonna agree with me on this because I feel like yes, you should root for everybody black, but let's just be honest where honesty deserves to be. We had no conversation about their ethnicity through this entire movie.
Yeah. Nope. Not at all. And they don't blatantly like pick a side.
No, and they don't have to pick a side. But if we're talking about a huge franchise of meta commentary on the horror franchise, and you're giving me a black female character who is related to a horror nerd, who is herself not only a horror nerd, but a lesbian or at least bisexual from what we see, then she's not going to have some commentary on how, well, I'm black and I'm a lesbian, so I guess I'm going to die too. We get none of those jokes.
We get none of those.
We're going to die first. Like none of that. We get none of
that. None. I don't think they wanted to. Do you think they wanted to kind of play it safe?
Absolutely. But Wes did that joke like 3 movies ago. So I get it. But I'm saying if we actually have black central characters, or correction, not even black, biracial.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Someone could have made the joke of Mindy or Chad of, well, we're black, so we're probably not going to make it. And someone could have said, well, only half of you is black, so you have half a chance to survive, which would have been funnier because they both survived.
Exactly. And it was touch and go there with Mindy. It was.
But I'm just saying, like, it would have been a funny joke.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And even still, like I said, going back to the whole hallucination things, how they could have made all of this work. What if we didn't have a hallucination 15 minutes before our exposition about Billy Loomis's daughter? How about we just had her just pop up and be like, yo, I'm Billy Loomis's daughter. That way it would have been a little bit of a shock instead of us figuring it out from seeing the goddamn reflection in the mirror.
Exactly.
You took I get that it was never going to be a twist, but it could have been more suspenseful.
Yeah. Because we wouldn't have saw that coming. At least from that angle, we wouldn't have saw it coming. The way they did it, we saw it coming.
Or we could have taken out the hallucination scene, and
Mhm.
we could have taken out the terror hospital scene because she's resting anyway. You wouldn't drop a bomb on like that, somebody's about to die.
Mhm.
She could have had the whole I'm Billy Loomis's daughter in the circle when they were discussing killer theories.
Yeah.
That would have been the perfect time.
Yeah.
Right. But Mindy's going over, okay, it's a requel. And they start talking about The Last Jedi
Mhm.
and how it always goes back to the past, but it's going to introduce some new themes and it's going to go forward. And she goes into this whole thing about how when Stab 8 came out, everybody hated it and the fans were going crazy on Reddit. And here comes the word toxic fandom.
Mhm.
That's the word of the day.
Mhm.
And how someone is making their own sequel their own way, right? So more exposition.
Yep.
I just feel like this is one of those times where like I get Scream is a tell and show type of movie,
Mhm.
but we got way too much telling and not enough show in this movie.
Yeah. There wasn't like Scream franchise is known for not only how they keep us guessing, but also the kills. Like, let's just
Yeah.
keep it real.
The
Like
Who
the
Done It was
kills.
so watered down.
Yeah.
So, it's whatever. But
Yep.
they're going around the circle of who it could be. Wes is like, it couldn't be me. I'm too timid. Mindy calls out Liv saying it couldn't be her because she has no personality.
Mhm.
Chad's like, well, I don't know what to tell you. And Mindy is like Randy, but like really disrespectful. And that's why I don't like her character.
Mhm.
Randy was, I won't say an asshole because he wasn't. Randy was very honest and very upfront about everything he knew about horror movies,
Mhm.
but he wasn't hurtful. Mindy
Yeah.
is just a hurtful bitch.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just the humor of today's teenagers. I don't know. I mean, I'm a pretty sarcastic bitch myself, but like she just was there was no subtlety. Like she was just like, you're boring, you're a bitch,
Mhm.
you're weak. So the only person it could be is Sam. Like she gets right in Sam's face, was like the only person that makes sense is you.
Mhm.
So she tried to kill her own sister.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like her character was, and this is why I said I don't understand why we didn't touch on like the black side of these characters, because you damn sure made her an aggressive black woman,
Yeah.
right? Sassy,
Yeah. Yeah. She
but
definitely
we
was.
didn't. That's why it didn't make any sense to me.
Mhm.
So Sam gets mad and storms out, and she's driving, and she has another hallucination of Billy Loomis, who's like, "You're acting like a little whiny bitch, and you're running from who you really are. So we need to go out there and cut some throats." And she almost crashes the fucking car,
Right.
right? And then we cut to Judy because Wes leaves too. So we cut to Judy. She's ordering sushi. Wes is supposed to be on his way home, but he jump scares her. Right? She
Yep.
grabs her knife. A sheriff who doesn't have a gun on her
Crazy, right? Crazy. Crazy. Like y'all
grabs a
really.
butcher knife. Gets jump scared by Wes. She's like, "Yeah, I'm going to go pick up sushi. Go take a shower. Make sure you lock the door." Wes locks the door. He puts his mace and everything down by the door. He goes, takes a shower. On the way to get sushi, she gets her ghost face call.
Mhm.
Right? And what's funny about this is in the group setting when they were talking about who's going to die next, Mindy was telling them, well, it's based off of whoever was in the first, like based off the legacy characters and who
Okay.
was in these sequels. And
Yeah.
Wes is like, well, my mom was in those,
Mm.
so I must be next. And Mindy was like, no, your mom was barely made a cameo in one of them. You two should be safe. So the fact that we get a ghost face call for Judy, I kind of saw it coming because they're trying to subvert expectations.
Mhm.
So I knew she was going to be in there somewhere when they tried to make it seem like she wasn't a part of it, because why else would she be back? So she gets her call and he's like, yeah, by the time you get to where you're going, no, he says, I'm going to turn myself in. And she's like, good. And he's like, I want to tell you about the 2 murders that I've done. And
Mhm.
she's like, there's only been 1 murder. And he's like, well, by the time you get home, there's going to be another one when I get my hands on your baby boy.
Mm.
She flips the siren, turns around, screaming, hollering, don't kill my baby. Like that ever fucking works, right?
Mhm.
And she's like flying to get there. She's calling backup. She is putting pedal to the metal,
Hauling ass
hauling ass. She gets there. She runs up to the front door. Ghostface jumps off her porch and kills her in broad daylight.
in broad daylight.
Like
Like
I said, we're sheriff, right? And we've been at least deputy for like a good 10, 11 years, right? It's
yeah,
11 years later. So you were deputy for a long time. And
yeah.
now we're sheriff. So you're gonna get a phone call from a murderer. It's at your home. You're going to run into a hostile. Now, I'm not even a cop, but I know this. But you're going to run into a hostile situation. No taser, no gun drawn, no mace, no backup.
Nothing emotional. Just emotional. Mm-mm.
And she gets killed in like broad fucking daylight. Which, I mean, I was happy to see. I'm glad that she's dead. Please
And it
don't
was
ever
a little
resurrect her.
brutal. It was a little brutal too. Like,
Yeah, I was happy about that. That's honestly how I feel about Deputy Judy. Like, I'm glad that someone took her out. I don't have to see her anymore.
Whew, he fucked her up.
So we get inside the house, and Wes is in the shower, and you already know your jump scares are coming. So he's walking around the house, he's getting plates, cabinets are opening, cabinets are closing, nobody's there. The score hushes, all that rudimentary shit.
Mm-hmm.
And he sees the door is like open-ish, and he's like, I know I locked this door. Right?
Right. Like,
Doesn't think to grab his mace or anything. He just closes the door. And we finally get Ghostface jumping out in the kitchen. Now, this one was probably one of like the hardest ones to swallow because, like I said, I liked Wes as a character.
Yeah.
And the fact that Wes is a stand-in for Wes Craven in this universe at this point, I was kind of like, I wanted him to make it.
Yeah.
Plus, I liked this kid who played Wes because I like 13 Reasons Why, and he was good in that.
He was.
But I had a feeling he was going to die because he was kind of a big deal at the time. But when they stabbed him like through the mouth neck area, and he was pretty like, I know Courtney was like, so you can't fight back. I mean, he was holding him off for as long as possible.
Yeah.
That one was pretty sad. That's probably one of the saddest deaths in the movie. Besides the obvious, right? We're getting to the obvious.
Yeah.
But Sam pulls up. She's driving by. She pulls up. She sees all the tape. And another thing that I thought was funny. So, did you realize that TSA Bay was the cop that told her that Wes was dead?
Yes.
I was looking at this all you do. Like, you just a cop?
Like, look at him. Getting them roles. Okay.
Like, somebody see you on Insecure, it's like, he makes a great cop.
He does. He makes a good cop. Okay.
I was like, that's TSA Bay.
Yes, look at TSA Bay. Okay.
Yeah, that was funny. But once again, some shit that would never happen. Like, a cop would never be like, yeah, they're dead. Like, they'd be like, we can't tell you that, ma'am. Can you step on the sidewalk? But he tells her.
Right.
And who walks up but Gale motherfucking Weathers? She's there.
Yeah. And we get hurt. I mean, shit. Gale showed up so late in the movie. She was
but it was like a breath of fresh air.
Finally. It was like finally. Because the story don't really mean nothing. It don't mean nothing without Gale.
But she turns around and Gale's like, is everything okay?
Mm-hmm.
And she's talking to Sam and she sees Dewey and just beelines for Dewey and starts hitting his ass.
Yep.
You told me he's back through a text message? And he's like, ow, ow,
Right.
And she's like, why are you out of uniform? And he's like, ever since they told me to step down from my position.
Damn.
And she just looks so like, the fact that she is so heartbroken when he tells her he's not sheriff anymore. Like, she can tell that something's wrong, right? And he's like, he looks behind her and sees a news video and he's like, oh, Gale Weathers never going to miss a good story. And she's like, okay, so of course my boss wanted me to come cover this. And she's like, but 90% of why I'm here is for you. And he's like, oh, well, I feel 90% better. So they're already doing that shit.
Yep, already.
That they do.
Yep.
Right. And she checks him and was like, wait a minute, you left me.
Yeah.
Which I did not see coming.
I didn't see that coming either.
She was like, you left me.
Yeah.
And he's like, I beat myself up about that shit every day when I see you. And she's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, look, never mind. I'm not going to tell you what I'm talking about.
Right.
And she's like, it was my shot to make my dreams come true. You said you would try. And he's like, I did try. And she's like, you gave me 2 months and then you left in the middle of the night. And the next thing I know, I'm getting divorce papers. So for the first time, we get to be mad at Dewey.
Yeah. Yeah. Dewey was I couldn't really be on his side on this one.
I was so heartbroken for Gale because she just looked like crushed when she saw him.
Yeah.
So they're doing that, and Sam notices the guy that's guarding her sister's hospital room is there. And she's like, so who the fuck is watching my sister? And he's like, well, the sheriff is dead. So she's like, okay, we gotta go.
Right.
So like, she gets in the car. Dewey gets in the car with her and he's like, let's do this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's what's fucking hilarious. So Richie is still in the hotel watching Stab, eating pizza. And what do we see? We see Dead Meat James, which I
Yep.
love Dead Meat James. I'm so
Yep.
glad they made it because they have put in so much work in the horror community.
Oh yeah.
To see him and his wife doing a podcast about how shitty Stab 8 was, and then you look to the side and you
Yep.
see like where has Kirby Reed been? Is Schumacher still alive? All those little Easter eggs for part 6.
Mm-hmm.
So Sam's like, hey, I'm getting back to the hospital. You need to meet me there. Something's about to happen. I can just feel it.
Yeah.
Now, this is why I always watch movies with Courtney, because he points out shit that I just don't even pay attention to sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, so if they left, if her and Dewey got in the car and they left at daylight, and Woodsboro is a small town, why is it dark when they got to the hospital?
Yeah, I never understood that. I never even noticed that. But why?
Like, it's just dark.
Dark as hell.
Right. And you're in the hospital and you see Tara is by herself. She hears something and she has enough fucking smarts to get in a wheelchair and
Yeah.
at least try to get the fuck out of there. She's
Yeah,
like, all right,
she
you're going to
tried.
have to come get me.
She tried.
She rolls by. The security guard is dead. Nobody's in the hospital. Lights is out. And Ghostface is like right behind her.
Yep. Perfect timing, right? Perfect timing. So do you think this person was it Richie or was it
So this was Amber. And Amber even says that this was her.
yeah.
Right? Because you got to remember, Richie got into the elevator with them. Richie was at the hotel. They showed him in the hotel. So Amber took credit for this one. So Sam is calling Tara's phone and she doesn't answer. Ghostface answers and he's like, yeah, we're going to play another game. Richie shows up and gets cut on the arm.
Yep.
Right. And she's like, Ghostface is like, okay, so you get to pick who's going to live, Tara or Richie. And she's like, you can say, save my sister and I'll kill your boyfriend, or you can say, kill my sister and keep your boyfriend. And Sam's like on the phone, like, please don't do this, blah, blah. He's like, you can't even choose.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? Ghostface says something to the effect of like, you still can't choose your family over blah, 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 which lets me know this is Amber, because the way that it was said and the fact that it alluded to Sam leaving, let me know it was Amber, because just how venomous Amber was about it.
Yeah, because she really didn't like held that against her.
Yeah. So she's like, it was Ghostface like, TikTok, you run out of time. And Sam's like, or maybe I was just stalling. And the elevator's open. Dewey shoots, right? Mm-hmm. And just starts unloading the clip. Ghostface is getting hit, bop, 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 all in the body. Falls into the goddamn case. They run and get Tara off the floor because Tara fell out her wheelchair. They get Richie. They go to the elevator. And then here's the part of the movie where I was just broken. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where I am as a Scream fan, is broken.
Yeah.
Because I understood that Dewey had to die. If you look at the 3, like I said, Gale writes the story. Sidney is the beginning and the end. So Dewey had to go. I know this. I'm tearing up just thinking about it. Please, I'm sorry. I'm so into this.
But we still didn't want it to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't want it to happen. I had a really hard time.
But I feel like he did the same thing. He did the same thing Harrison Ford did with The Last Jedi, which is, if you want me back, you need to kill me because I'm not coming back. Mm-hmm. I was just as upset when they killed Han Solo in The Last Jedi as I am with this. Yeah. But I understand the actors are like, I'm done with this shit. Write me out of the story.
I get it. From that point, I get that. You know what I'm saying? Because he's not getting any younger,
right?
And it's like, y'all done, like, it's been.
What else can we do with his character?
What else can we do? So it was.
And the fact,
we love him.
The fact that they in this movie stripped him of his identity, which was Gale. Right, as her husband and his job as a sheriff.
Yeah,
he was a shell of a character, so I understand why he died.
Yeah,
from a writing aspect, you couldn't take Dewey any further if you took away the 2 things that made him live.
Exactly. Yep.
So I get it from a writing aspect,
right?
What I don't get is why we made him Dewey from part 3 and not Dewey from any other movie.
Yeah,
right. Because Dewey was like, oh, I gotta shoot him in the head. No. Dewey would have been like, all right, we'll deal with this later. Let's get everybody safe.
Exactly.
Dewey ain't never double back on no Ghostface. in the history of Scream. He has never doubled back. And I get that he doubled back because he's tired of running. Whatever. I'll buy that too. I'm into suspended disbelief. I'm 50 minutes into this fucking movie by now and I believe nothing.
Right.
I obviously can deal with that.
Right.
What I don't believe is that Dewey Riley.
Yeah.
Okay. 8-time Ghostface bout champion. Is going to walk up on Ghostface, have the headshot, and look at his phone because it rang.
That right there was where I was like, you got to be kidding me.
And it was Gale, which is even more like, serendipitous. But like, I picture Dewey. This is Dewey. Dewey's going to have his shit on silent because it's Dewey, because he's a sheriff. And most cops have their personal phones on silent during their operating hours. So I'm saying, like, if he's going to give a headshot and he's got the headshot, Dewey is not going to not take the headshot.
He's going to take it. He's going to take it every time because he's been through this time and time
My
again.
point is, even as bumbling as he was in Scream 3, he took the headshot immediately.
Yes.
When Sidney was like, shoot him in the head. He popped him in the head.
Yep.
The way they took my man out was so undeserving. It wasn't fair. And for you to, like I said, I give them props on the writing aspect of Dewey. You took the character as far as it went. You showed us who he was without the two things that made him who he was and the two people that made him who he was. Got it. Perfect. Yeah. I'm totally fine with that storyline. But that's how you take him out.
It didn't make sense.
I like the double kill though. I like the double knife up the back. Like, we're gonna make sure you don't survive this one. I like the gutting. But like I said, how it happened, I'm not buying it.
Yeah.
I would have you could have just had him push them on the elevator and Ghostface was coming.
Yeah.
And he got killed. Anything other than he looked at the phone.
Yeah. That.
And on top of that, now you're setting Gale up to forever feel guilty for calling Dewey.
As she should.
Right? But yes, heartbreaking. But I do appreciate the fact that Ghostface said that it's an honor when they stabbed him, because I did like that part. It's an honor. Like, I did like that part because it is.
Got the original. You got one of the originals?
Yeah. And like the most heartbreaking Gale Weather scene of all time is seeing her run up and she sees that body bag because she's always with him when he gets hurt.
Yep.
And she sees that body bag and she just falls into Sam and Richie's arm. And she's screaming and they're dragging her away. Probably one of the most heartbreaking like scenes in Scream.
Yeah. And they usually don't even get deep like that
in
Scream movies. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people die in all of these Scream movies, but none of them hit like that.
And I feel like I think it hits for me differently is because I have somebody that I love that much, that I fight with and love and make like, and if for some reason we were to separate in my brain, I'm like, we'll fix it.
Yeah.
Like, they'll never fix it.
Yep. Oh, yeah,
they've done the back and forth for so long and now they're not going to fix it at the end of this movie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's what hurt me.
Oh, yeah, that was hard.
Like, the last thing y'all did was argue.
Yeah. Ugh. And they never got it right. Like, they never got
it right.
Nope.
But I mean, do any of us ever really get it right? We just love who we love and we try our best. But like, they will never get it right now. That's what hurt. But I wish they would have gave Gale some bitchiness in this movie. That's one thing I didn't like. They made her like way too. I mean, I guess she's older.
Yeah.
But like, she had a few like bitch sprinkles. But I wanted her like. Case in point, Sam comes up to her and she's like, look, Dewey saved me and my sister's life. And I'm so sorry for your loss. But she wouldn't be alive if it wasn't for him. Now, the way Courtney Cox's face looked, like Gale looked at her like, bitch, I don't care. But I would have rather her been like, I'm happy for your sister, but I just lost the fucking love of my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So excuse me if I don't care.
That would have been very on point. Gale. That would have been on point for her.
She just said nothing.
Yep.
Right. And Sidney shows up. Finally. This is the one thing that Sidney's like, you know what? This is too close to home for me.
Yeah.
So I gotta do this shit. She shows up and her and Gale for the first time in 5 movies. 5 movies, people have a real embrace.
Yeah.
Like, they really like that was it. They just was like, all right, we got C and B, motherfucker. Like, this is it.
Pretty much. Yep.
So they go outside And Sam's like, you know what we're going to do? We're getting the fuck out of here, Tara. Get your shit. I'm taking you to Modesto. We're getting the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And she's like, you know what they do in horror movies? They never do. They never leave. We're leaving.
Yeah. She had me there where I was like, okay, finally,
Right.
Somebody's thinking logically here.
Right. So Sidney gets her outside and she's like, hey, I know who you are. And Sam's like, I know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and she's like, yeah, I know you're Billy's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I knew all about this.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, I just really need your help. And she's like, you and the anchor lady want me to go help you kill somebody. And they were like, yeah.
Basically.
Right. And Sam gets all sassy and Gale's like, honey, you know when they say everything goes back to the original? This is the original.
Exactly.
Right. And Sam's like, hey, I'm sorry, this ain't my problem no more. My only thing I need to do is get my sister the fuck out of here. She's like, this ain't my story. This your story. Y'all handle it.
Exactly.
Right. Mm-hmm. And we're just like, let's get the fuck out of here. They get Tara in the car and Sidney's like, hey, Sam, wait. And she's like, look, I ain't got nothing for you. And she was like, you know what? Good luck. And Sam just kind of looks at her like, that's it.
Yeah.
But she gets in the car and Gale's like, so we just gonna let her go? And Sidney was like, I put a tracking device on her phone, on her car.
Right. Like, bitch, yes.
And Gale was like, and she's like, it's like a Gale Weathers things to do. So she's like, it's not a problem.
Right.
So they're, you know, there's a party at Amber's house. Of course, they're having a party. And the banner is so cute. It says for WES.
For WES.
So cute. And they're getting wasted. You know, Mindy's getting wasted. They're talking about, they're about to watch Stab, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And Chad is like, all right, him and Liv are making out. Liv's like, okay, let's go upstairs and do it. Yeah. I'm ready. Let's do this. And he was like, shouldn't we stay in here with all the other people? Which that's one part I laughed out loud at too.
Yeah.
Because he was like, I mean, I don't think I should go upstairs with you alone just in case. And he's like, you're the killer.
Right.
Don't want to. She got so offended. She got so offended. She gets up, she storms out, she's calling an Uber. Now, this is what I didn't like that they took out of the movie. So there is like a deleted scene apparently where they're all at the bar talking about this stuff, right? The bar scene. Mm-hmm. And Chad is not only a jock, but he's a techie. We didn't even get any of that in the theatrical release. And you know when he goes outside to look for Liv and that app pops up?
Yeah.
Right. So in the bar scene, he's trying to get everybody on that app so we can all keep track of each other.
Okay.
But they cut that part out. So now it doesn't make sense when you get to that ending part of the movie where he's looking for Liv.
Okay.
So Mindy's like, dude, don't go outside looking for her. And he's like, I gotta go get her. And then he gets the alert from Liv saying, hey, I'm on this app. And he's like, cool, I know where she is. Right. So he goes out to look for her. Mindy and Amber upstairs talking. And she's like, you know, we need more beer. Amber's like, cool, I'm going to go downstairs and get more beer. Don't understand this part of the movie at all. And I'm going to tell you why. You are Ghostface. This is your house. Why are you going through the theatrics of making sure the lights don't turn on so you can go down to the basement and get beer if you don't know somebody's going to follow you?
Exactly.
Right? Like, we have no idea Mindy's coming down there. You don't know this. You are not psychic.
Right.
So why all the drama?
Yeah.
You're the killer. Yeah. Whatever. So she opens the fridge, and mind you, she only gets like 3 cans of beer, right? Like she doesn't even get like a whole case.
A whole ass party upstairs, you gonna grab 3 beers. What?
So Mindy's like behind the fridge, and she's like, you made the first mistake. You shouldn't go anywhere by yourself. And they have that whole back and forth of like, you could be the killer. No, you could be the killer. No, you, and it's a worn out joke at this time.
Yeah.
By this point of the movie. And Mindy's like, you know, good, you're catching on. And I'm like, bitch, she's the killer. But you're so cocky.
Yeah.
Right? That's what it is. Mindy's too damn cocky.
Right, right.
It's not charming. It's giving Reddit.
Yeah.
It's giving Facebook Scream fan pages that I follow. It's not endearing. So how she became a favorite character, I don't understand. Maybe because all of the horror assholes identify with her. I did not. She got on my nerves.
Right. Yeah.
So they go back upstairs. Chad is now looking for Liv. Now, mind you, in the middle of all of this, Richie, Sam, and Tara are like, we're getting the fuck out of here. But Tara's looking for her inhaler because, you know, everybody has an asthmatic in the family.
And
So
you can't get an inhaler.
yeah, she's like, no, I'm not gonna make it to my death. And she starts wheezing, I'm not gonna make it. So she's like, but Amber has one at her house. And Richie's like, we're not fucking stopping there, which I will give him credit because he played the role.
He did.
It's to best of his ability. He just wasn't convincing.
He committed. He
He wasn't convincing, but like he said all the right things.
Yep.
Right. We're not going there. And so they decide to go. Okay. Chad is outside looking for Liv on this app. He's closing in on her, and Ghostface like busts out of a shed and hawks him down. Now, mind you, Chad's a football player, so I had a feeling he was gonna get away just because, like, this Ghostface more so than all the other ones is completely out of shape. Yeah, we didn't even touch on how this Ghostface is like completely out of shape. Like,
he did the least amount of running in this.
Yeah, can't run. Yeah, knocked out easily. Like, we talking like Stu Macher levels of shenanigans. Yeah. Okay. So this one busts out the shed, chasing Chad down, stabs him through the calf, stabs him like in the chest area, and Chad's so bloody that he's trying to like use his phone, but like it's not registering.
Oh yeah, that was rough. That was
right,
rough.
But he gets away because as he's running, Richie's car is pulling up, so Ghostface has to disappear. So he, you know, he didn't die. You just don't know, where he hid out at. So we get in the house. Tara hobbles in, and Amber's like, "Oh my gosh, did you even be here? What's going on?" And she's like, "I need my hailer. I'm leaving." And she's like, "Well, where are you going?" And Tara looks at Sam, and Sam's like,
"Yeah."
And Amber's like, "Okay, I get it. Just let me know when you're safe. We'll go get your inhaler." They go upstairs to look for it. Amber's like, "All right, party's over." That's how I definitely knew she was the killer.
Bingo, bingo, bingo. It was like, okay, clear as day. Because why the party got to end now that they're here?
Right, because if she's saying, "I'm about to leave town," why would you have to end the party?
Exactly. And who just ends, like, nobody leaves a party that willingly of like, oh, it's over. Like, nah, bitch, we about to keep partying.
Which was crazy because they like were trying to end the party and Richie gets all like millennial, which made me cringe because like,
yep.
I don't know what kind of millennial you are personally. I know me, I don't give a fuck like about most things. I wouldn't have tried to help out. I'd been like, all right, I guess they ain't leaving, so I'll be out in the car. But he's like, turn the lights on. He's like, okay, guys, so Sam and Tara have gotten attacked twice and they're here, which means the killer is going to come here, which means you're going to die too. So maybe you should leave. Now, great fucking like thought process, right? Like he ain't wrong.
Yeah.
But of course, Gen Z, and he calls them Gen Z too, which is hilarious. Okay, Gen Z. Yeah. They like throw cups at him and boo. And it's like, nah, like he really serious. Like y'all about to die.
Clearly. Exactly. Why? Like, why? Y'all need to listen.
And then he's like, all right, I tried to be nice. Get the fuck out. All right, everybody go. Get the fuck out. So people are leaving. Tara goes off with Amber. Sam is there. Richie's like walking around. Mindy is making out with a girl, like I said, because she's either bi or gay. We never get confirmation, but she's kissing some girl. The girl's right. It's like, yo, we got to go. Mindy's watching Stab getting drunk. And Liv comes and sits down next to her. And she's like, where's my brother? And she's like, I don't fucking know. My Uber never showed up. And we get a really good scene. And I really wish that Liv was the killer because she delivered.
I thought she was.
Right.
I thought she would. I
was like, wow, wouldn't this be crazy if we had two female Ghostface?
Wouldn't it be crazy?
Right. Because she was like, what, are you scared? Are you scared now, Mindy? I thought I had no personality. And she was like, well, now I don't know. Like,
right. As viewers, we like, we don't really know.
Well, I don't know now because you acting real creepy. And, you know, Mindy, does that shit and Liv's going off on it. And she's finally like, well, it's not me. And like storms out. Right. So Richie comes in and is like, hey, is there any more beer? Mindy's like, I think there's some downstairs. He's like, you want to come with me? Because he was trying to lure her down in the basement, clearly.
Yep.
But she's like, and he's like, yeah, you're right. So he goes by himself. No, she was like, well, good job for asking, but no, I'm not going. So they go downstairs. He goes downstairs. Mindy's sitting there by herself. Sam is walking through the house. Sam gets a call. It's Sidney.
Yep.
I love this part. And she's like, she doesn't even say, hi, it's Sidney. She says, you need to get out of that house right now.
Yes.
Right now.
Get the hell out of there.
And Sam's like, what are you talking about? And she's like, do you know where you are? That is the Stu Macher house. which I really wish they hadn't spoiled that shit on Instagram. If they would have never, if they would have never spoiled it, because you know the Paramount itself put that out on their Twitter page, the picture of the Mocker House coming back, like when they were in production.
Yep, I hated that. I hated that they did that.
That would have been the twist of all twists.
It would have, because the shot afterwards when she said it,
when it's rotating.
Yes, it literally
even when you're at the party scene and say you're looking around, you see the house. Like when you see Mindy sitting on the couch, like you see the proximity of everything. It's just a different paint job.
Yep. Because they had to with that house history. You know what I'm saying? They obviously had to remodel it.
And he's like, yo, I'm on the way, but you need to get the fuck out of their house because they lured you there.
Mm-hmm. It's a trap.
Sam's looking for Richie and Tara. She can't find them.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Then this is another reason why I hate Mindy. And I'm sorry, like maybe it's just a me thing, but I've had relatives that have died that I've never met, but I would never be that disrespectful. Like she had like no feeling for her uncle being dead. Every time she talked about it, she's like, yeah, he's dead. He got killed.
Weird. Yeah, it was very that
you're watching the interpretation of his murder and you're shouting at the TV. Now I do appreciate the look out behind you, Jamie. And then she was like, yeah, I did appreciate that. And Ghostface was right behind her.
I kind of wanted her gone by that point.
I don't understand why she didn't get killed. That'd have been perfect.
I wanted her gone. I wanted her dead.
Yeah, that'd have been a perfect scene.
Yeah.
But Sam walks in and she's struggling with Ghostface.
Mm-hmm.
She gets Ghostface away from Mindy. Ghostface disappears. In comes Amber. In comes Tara. In comes Liv. In comes Richie. And they're all accusing each other. And Amber's like, I was upstairs with Tara.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of you motherfuckers. Yep. Right? Because she just sees Sam covered in blood. Mindy's like, no, it wasn't her. Liv is like, Richie's like, I was in the basement. And Liv was like, it's not me.
Right.
And this was the most horrific segue, personally. We didn't get like a lead into, we didn't get I caught you. She just pulled out the goddamn glizzy and was like, yeah, you're right, bitch. Bam. And
yep. No build up.
No grand reveal.
No, just like, yep, it's me. Like, what? Because you gotta understand, they're running out of time at this point.
Right. And exactly.
Like, we gotta
and then she's like, welcome to the third act. And it's like, bitch, we knew it was you.
Yeah. Nobody's surprised.
Right. And she's about to shoot Sam, but Tara tackles her. Mm-hmm. Richie and Sam run into the basement, and Richie's like, hey, have you ever thought that it might be your sister setting you up? This is all very convenient that she didn't get killed.
Yep.
Okay. And Sam's just like, whatever, but her wheels are turning.
Right. Because I ain't gonna lie, I kind of was thinking it was the sister too, because bitch, why would you like I wasn't buying the whole inhaler shit. You know what I'm saying?
No, I never thought it was Tara, only because they would have wasted so much time with the Ghostface following her shots that it wouldn't have made sense. Yeah. Why? Because nobody's around to see it. So why would you even do it? Right. But she goes upstairs. She finds Tara in a closet, tied up, bound and gagged. Sidney shows up. Sidney and Gale get out the car. And I do love this part. Amber comes out and she's like, oh my God, help me. And they were like, you buying this? No. And they were like, she's like, you buying this? And Gale was like, it's a trap. So they shoot at her. And Amber's like, fuck it. Literally just says fuck it. And shoots Gale in the same side Gale always gets shot in. Like, this bitch has no liver or pancreas at this point. Every time. No organs at this point on that side of her body.
She can't have it.
Okay. And
Gale stayed getting shot. Gale stayed getting shot, stabbed. Like, goddamn. Like,
she tells her to go in there and finish it. Like, don't worry about me. Go finish this. She goes inside. Yeah. It's deja vu. And Sidney's like, I'm about to start shooting some doors. So if you're innocent, walk out.
Yeah.
She just starts lighting up doors. She was not playing. She was just shooting up doors. And I love her Ghostface call because we get that good old sassy Sidney.
Yep.
And she's like, you know, you are like the 10th person to do this, right?
Like, she's over it.
Right. And that's what she says. They're doing their whole monologue shit. And she's like, I'm over this. And she just throws the phone. He's like, and you hear him go, wait.
Oh
and
my
she
god.
starts shooting, and she shoots in one of the doors, and Richie's in there. And so Richie called her.
Yep. It was so obvious. So obvious. Like, no.
Yeah. So he gets shot. They're walking around the house, and he bumps into Sam again, right? Because Amber's like just wilding out at this point. She's in the Ghostface costume.
Yep.
She's getting Sidney, and Sam gets the goddamn gun, and Richie's like, no, the knife, and Richie's like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But there's two killers, and it's me. And he stabs her in the stomach.
Right.
And he pulls the inhaler out of his pocket, and he's like, I can't believe this shit worked.
Exactly. It was too easy. Like it was so easy.
The
it was so
movie of convenient coincidences.
So convenient. There was no anticipation of like, oh my gosh. Like, no, we saw everything coming.
And like, we don't even care about how you pulled this off anymore because we know it wouldn't happen in real life. But he stabs Sam in the stomach. They take everybody to the kitchen. Right. Tara's still locked up in the closet. Gale is there. Sidney's there. Sam is there. And then here we get our big motivation.
Yeah. We got to have that. Because we run out of time. Time is going by fast. We're in the kitchen, where everything happened the first time,
All right, so here's the deal, right? So this time, Richie and Amber met on a Stab subreddit.
Yeah.
Okay. And they both hated Stab 8 so much. And she was like, after a few weeks of talking, we knew what we had to do. And then when my parents bought this place, I became completely obsessed. So she knew what the house was. Like they know all this stuff, right? They're super fans. And she was like, but Dewey had to die for it to be real. And she was like, I had the pleasure of doing that. And Gale's about to pop her one, but she's like, you better sit it down. Right. Sam is on the ground, like trying to get up. Now, this is where I was like, okay, Sidney, where's your brain? Because instead of, I don't know, shoulder checking this bitch while she's distracted talking to her boo, she tries to reach for a weapon and get stabbed.
Yeah.
Right.
So, like,
because Amber's just like so wrapped up in by the way, like when you really understand that Richie's like 23, 24 and Amber's like 17, 18, it makes it even more disgusting.
Yeah.
But she gets stabbed by Amber, right? Sam crawls over to try and help or whatever. And they're like, yeah, this is going to work. And he's like, I'm sorry, Sid, you have to die too because you survived this many times. Just doesn't make any sense.
Yep.
Right. And Sam's like, so why? And he's like, you haven't figured it out yet? Like, we're pinning this all on you, daughter of Billy Loomis.
I mean, that part of the plan would have worked.
She's like, how did you even find out? And she's like, your mom is the town drunk. You get a couple drinks in her, she'll tell anybody that listens who your father is. Which means more people know.
That's what I was saying. And that goes back to my point of like, this is a small fucking town. Like, I mean, come on.
And mind you, through this whole ordeal, this poor girl is in the hospital. Mother never shows up.
Never.
She even says, well, I'm going to text mom and tell her I'm taking you with me. Like, it's just never, like, whatever.
Mom never showed up. Dad, stepdad been pieced out.
Like, so like this, universe, the parents don't give a shit. But
none of the parents of any of these kids.
Right. What hurts the most is when he was like, it wasn't hard to find you in Modesto and it wasn't hard to fuck you either.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So he's like, you're so pathetic. I even convinced you that it was your own sister. And then he's like, we got to start staging the body. So she goes to get Tara. She's like, she's not in here. And Sam's like, so obviously you didn't convince me that well.
Right.
And he's like, what is she going to do? He's like, she can't do anything. And she beats the shit out of Amber with that crutch.
Yeah, that asthma wasn't kicking in then. That asthma was not
inhaler in.
She didn't need no inhaler in, which they could have left without the inhaler. I always go back to that damn inhaler.
Because you can get a rescue inhaler from anywhere.
anywhere. Come on now.
You can go to urgent care. You can go to an ER. Anywhere. You don't have to necessarily have a prescription to get a rescue inhaler. Now, I have a child and a man with asthma. Okay, I've gotten many rescue inhalers when someone has lost theirs.
Yeah.
Now, that's your prescription. Yes, you need to go to a doctor for it. But hey, he has asthma. He's
if you
wheezing.
need it, like right here, right now,
and he's wheezing right now. He has a history of asthma.
Right.
They're gonna give you a rescue inhaler and send you on your way.
Absolutely.
Okay, so she beats the shit out of Amber. Richie runs out. Sam's on the run, like, fuck it, I gotta get the fuck out of here. Sidney and Gale are trying to help each other because they old as shit, trying to get out the kitchen.
Man, they
are struggling.
They was struggling on that floor. Okay.
Okay.
Struggling.
And Amber shows back up, but they have a nice little fight with Amber. It's 2 against 1, but they're older, so they kind of getting rocked a little bit. But they do get the upper hand on her.
Yeah.
And Sidney's like, she's like, you want me to handle? No, Gale says, you go ahead and handle it. And Sidney says, no, I think this honor is yours because of Dewey. Right? Because Amber was bragging all about how she killed Dewey.
I mean, she was talking cash shit.
Okay. So she's like, no. I just wanted to be a part of something.
No, I was like, fuck that bitch. I was yelling at my TV, fuck her.
Sidney throws a bottle of vodka against her. She lands against the stove. Gale shoots her and she gets caught on fire. Now, what annoyed me more than anything, and I feel like this is the only reason why this girl got this job, because she got lit on fire in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
She did. She did.
Wait, so did y'all hire this girl? Like, you know what? She gets lit on fire pretty well.
She takes a good flame. She's the good flame. Yeah.
Right. So you got Richie and Sam playing, like, fighting all through the house.
Yep.
And Richie's talking mad shit about how this is, like, their movie and they're doing it right.
Yep.
And they're going down in history and the fans are going to get what they want. And here we go again. Convenient fucking plot twist.
Yep.
Like, it just makes my ass itch. The only reason why she gets the jump on this man is because her dead father, who she's never met, is in a bullet-stained shirt, looks at her and does this to a knife on the floor.
Yeah. Like, what? What? Like, oh my gosh. It was just too much. It was too
all
much.
types of, like, Halloween Cult of Thorn bullshit. Like, it's just so convenient. You telling me that her dead father, who she's never met, who is a serial killer who she wants to distance herself from, is giving her the advice of where the knife is hidden, because he is a ghost. He is a poltergeist in a mirror who can see objects.
We got too much going on in this last 15 minutes. Was so much going on.
And if we're going deeper into psychosis here, meaning if all of this is just a reflection of her own mind's eye and how she interprets things, right? If we're talking about hallucinations and psychology.
Right.
So usually that, from what I've heard, I'm no expert, I would like to be, but this is stuff that is going on in the back of your mind, your subconscious, that manifests itself in different ways. I mean, subconsciously, she knew where the knife was, but needed her own mind to tell her in a hallucination where it was. Make sense.
And it didn't make no sense. That's the thing. You ain't gonna make it make sense. You just not.
I'm giving y'all the hottie blink because I don't understand. So she gets the knife and she stabs him like a real psychopath. And I hope they explore this in the next one, because she really did go full serial killer.
I mean,
she was enjoying it. She was stabbing him like Chucky. She was
going. I was like, damn.
She was happy with glee.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, but what about my ending? Because she stabs him through the mouth. Right? And then she just starts
tearing his ass up.
She's stabbing him the way Ralphie beats up that kid in the Christmas Story.
Yes. Just
like, wow. I really want to dub in.
Yep.
That's what it looked like. He's like, what about my ending? And she, like, grabs him by the back of the neck. And she's like, here it comes. And just slices his throat. And he's like,
yeah.
Right.
Ugh.
So you think it's over.
Yeah.
And Sidney's like, yeah, this is blah, blah, blah. And Sam just unloads a clip into his ass.
Yep.
Right. And you're like, okay, cool. But then Amber pops up out the goddamn kitchen like Chucky.
Of course. Face is half
gone with a knife.
but she's like
screaming.
able to see, like, ah.
Yeah, and then Tara just shoots her from the side. You see a shot go through her head, and Tara. And this was like I swear, this right here was the worst line in the entire movie. And she says, "I still prefer the Babadook."
It was like y'all is dragging it. They was dragging the dialogue. I don't know who was screenwriting this shit, but man, they oh man.
So we get our ending. You see Mindy come out. She's good. You know, Sam's like, "Hey, are you okay?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'm good." She gives a thumbs up. Chad's in the ambulance already.
I don't know how he didn't die. Cause he had got stabbed the fuck up
He got
ago.
cut, but they didn't get to finish because the car pulled up.
Man, but still, it was a lot of blood.
Yeah.
It was a lot of blood. I was
But
worried.
Major artery, you know, it's whatever. I mean, he's athletic, he's young, they usually recover better.
Yeah, I was worried about him. I was like, damn, that nigga been out there for a minute.
And you see Gale and Sidney sitting there, and she goes over and she's like, you know, "Thank you for helping me."
Right.
And she goes, you know, "Will it get better?" And Sidney's like, "You'll learn to deal with it."
Mm.
You know what I mean? She's like, you'll learn to deal with it.
Yeah.
And she gets in the ambulance with Tara. And then we see a lady in like a yellow news suit, very Gale Weathers, right?
Oh, yeah.
Talking about the anniversary to the day of the first Woodsboro massacre and 20 years later and blah, blah, blah. And then we get our, you know, Ghostface cut. So we know we're getting another movie, because Wes has always said if you see a Ghostface cut at the end of a Scream movie, that means there's another part coming.
Of course.
And that was Scream 2022, Scream 5.
The so not subtle Scream 5. It was
now
so many callbacks to the first one. Like, hey guys, remember this in the first one? Remember this in the first one? I feel like they kept doing that. They kept doing Rick and the Gun. Like, remember this from the first one?
Right. Here's the thing. This is a movie about meta commentary about meta commentary. I think if you look at it as one big like wink and gun, like nudge, nudge.
Yep.
Yes, it makes sense. But for people who grew up with it, it's just not what we're used to.
Mm-hmm.
So I can take that for face value. Like, I'm not going to be like, "Oh, you ruined it." No, it's just, it's not for us. It's for new.
And that is where, you know, that's where I have a love-hate relationships for movies that do that.
Yeah.
Because I realize I'm growing up. Yep. It's not for me anymore.
Not for me.
It's not for me anymore. And that's where I'm like, but the kids seem to like it. I mean, it made good money.
Like, I absolutely hate Blueface as an artist. Yeah. But it's not for me. My 34-year-old self is not the target audience.
Yep.
So with that in mind, it's not the worst Scream.
Yeah.
3's still the worst Scream. It's not the worst Scream.
Yeah, it's never gonna take the place of being the worst. But
I think you can tell that it didn't have that penmanship of Kevin and Wes, because there just was no subtlety.
Yeah.
This was a movie made by Scream fans.
Yeah.
This is what we think a Scream movie is.
Yeah.
And I think if you go into it with that lens, it's enjoyable.
Yep. That's where I had to adjust my thinking a little bit, because I was like, okay, I get the whole subreddit, because anybody who's ever really been on Reddit,
it is a dangerous place,
and gone in a subreddit chat, like it gets dark. It's dark. It's dark.
They be having me feeling like Rocco, like this is a very dangerous day.
For real, like dead ass. So it's
Reddit
like,
day is a dangerous day.
You know, I had a really, really, really deep thought about the movie after I saw it the first time, and I was like, I didn't love it, I didn't hate it. The subreddit made it a little. It brought things together. It was a good twist. Certain things I just did not like. My personal favorite part of the movie was at the very end, where it was like, for Wes. And I was like, okay.
I personally feel like Scream 2022 is a fun ride for people who grew up with Scream. It's going to give you the nostalgic vibes. You're going to see things that you enjoy in it, but it's not going to make sense.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a new fan, it's definitely going to bring you into the universe and make you want to figure out more about it and go back and watch those movies.
Mm-hmm.
I think if they didn't have convenient loopholes and plot devices, plus a butt ton of characters, it could have been better. Because literally, Liv, Chad, Mindy, Wes all got wasted.
Yep.
All got wasted. No character development whatsoever, which is why I didn't understand why the Meeks twins survived. They must be a part of a bigger plan.
Maybe.
Because they got
Yeah.
no development at all. It seemed,
and they
this
weren't even
movie-
likable. And they weren't even likable.
It seemed like it was going to have more bodies based off of how many characters there was.
Yeah, it was a lot.
But we only got four kills.
Yeah.
We got Vince, right? We got Dewey.
Yep.
Right? We got the security guard at the hospital.
Yep.
And we got Liv. And the two Ghostface.
Yep. That was
it.
That was it.
That was it.
And the only ones that were very significant was Dewey.
Yep.
Maybe Deputy Judy. And they tried to make it a moment with Wes, but we didn't know much about Wes.
Yeah.
You know, we wanted to like Wes, we wanted to know more about him, but we just didn't have the time. And I felt like they spent the first 2 acts of this movie filler. It was filler. I
feel like they spent the first 2 acts trying to get us to the why and not the how.
Yeah.
They gave us no how.
Yeah. The how was it would have been a good plot device for them to use that how, you know, instead of just filler. It was just a lot of filler.
I just really feel like the thing that I feel like the studios keep getting wrong about these remakes and these requels aren't that they're redoing them. It's not that they're giving us new stories. It's not that they're putting their own spin on the original. It's because you're giving us characters that we don't care about in a universe that we care about, and the two don't go together.
Yep. The characters are getting more and more throwaway.
Yes, because
the
universes that you are infiltrating sustain these decades because of the characters that we care about.
Yep.
And if you only gave us 3 characters that we care about, you only gave us to 45 minutes in the movie, you kill one of them. That means the rest of them have to be more solid, and they did not do that. It is a pitfall that I think Hollywood is going through with all these remakes and requels. You have to give us something new in the universe that makes us drawn back in and still connects back to the original. Cool, I get that, but you have to balance it with characters that we care about. That's why I said people can hate Candyman all day. 2021, right? They can hate that movie all day. They can say they didn't understand it, that it was too deep, too woke. But what you cannot say is that it didn't introduce new information to us that we enjoyed and gave us characters that we cared about.
Yep. There we go. And I mean, listen. Candyman, the remake, is one of those movies that is in my staple of like comfort horror movies.
Oh yeah, it gets to your bones.
Like, it's so good. It's still pretty scary, and I just love the fact that Tony Todd still makes an appearance at the very, very end, because I'm looking for him the whole time.
That is my idea of, it wasn't a perfect movie by any means. There are some flaws in that too. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it merged those two things so beautifully. It gave us a backstory that incorporated the original. It made sense. It brought us a legacy character in Vanessa Williams as Anthony's mom, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because we remember that baby. We remember, like, what?
Right? It added to the mythos of Candyman and what he really is to not only the Black community, but to the actual entity himself and how he thrives, right? And how it's been able to thrive through many people and creating this hive, this network of sorts, right? With every new story, it even touched back on the Helen story and even twisted that, because telephone is the worst game ever, and urban legends get twisted as we go further and further along. There were things about the movie that were great. The only thing about the movie that really wasn't great was the fact that we didn't really get to see Candyman.
That's it. That was it. We wanted to see him,
but if you look at the original, you don't even see Candyman for the first 35 minutes.
You sure don't.
So
you sure don't. Yep.
if anyone could take a clue and a deep dive into a remake from a writing standpoint, from a nostalgic standpoint, and a thoughtfulness standpoint, that's what people need to look towards.
Yep. It was done. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Candyman. I enjoyed it. So this movie, not so much, but it was still a fun time. I took myself out of it of like, okay, first of all, you got to suspend your disbelief, because if you go into it, you'll realize there's it's so flawed, so
many
deeply,
holes.
so
this
many
movie
deeply
is Swiss cheese.
Yes, so many holes. And it was for the kids, so it was like, okay, they're just going to make another one because they made a lot of money off of it. So it's like, okay,
you can tell that whoever wrote and made this movie really loves these movies, which is all that you can ask for. They didn't shit on it at all. And don't take that from what I've complained about. I would still watch it again. I've watched it like 4 times. It's still a fun time.
Yeah.
It's just, if you're going into it looking for a Scream movie, it's Scream in quotations. Like, it's not a Scream movie. It is Scream adjacent.
Yes, it's in the same universe of this. These characters are in the same cinematic universe.
Yes.
So you can't just copy paste. They did. I mean, that was a crutch. That was a crutch for this movie of like, boom, boom, boom. We're going to heavily rely, because I feel like with that, the story is already 75% told.
That's what it is.
Y'all not even adding anything worth substance to it. Like,
I have the perfect analogy for people if you can't catch what we're putting down. If Scream 90s Scream franchise is Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Scream 2022 is Angel.
Yeah.
Same universe, same feels, but not quite what you were looking for in Buffy.
Yep.
Because a lot of Buffy fans hate Angel.
Yeah. They I know.
So, but no, I would definitely give this 4 Ghostface masks out of 5. Like, I'll definitely watch it again. Like, and now that we're here, we can do the official rankings so far.
Yep.
So at the bottom, we have Scream 3. That, no questions asked. We don't even need to go through that anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
We already said that movie we could just really exclude it from the whole franchise, because it don't even fit in.
Yeah.
It doesn't help tell a story at all.
Then I've got 5.
Okay.
Then I've got 2.
Okay.
Then I've got 4. Then I've got 1.
Okay.
Because I'm sorry, like, if one movie got as close to the original, it was part 4.
Yeah. But I still wouldn't put it for my list. If I had to rank it, okay, so 3 automatically. We know 3 is at the bottom. Then, personally, for me, I gotta put 4 at right above 3, just because it just didn't do it for me. It's still okay, but it just didn't do it for me. It definitely got me back interested in the franchise, and it wasn't as bad as 3. Then I would put 5. Then I would put, this is a hot take, I know I'm probably gonna get some heat for this.
I'm gonna put 1.
Then I'm gonna put 1, and I'm gonna rank 2. 2 is gonna be, and it's only, and I mean, it's just so I'm very biased with 2. I'm very biased.
I promise you, the only reason why 2 isn't number 1 is because of Stu. If Matthew Willard never existed, 2 would be number 1.
Yeah, and like how they try to just erase,
But there's just something about that man in that movie, and it
was like, you can't have Scream 2 without Scream. So I get that, but it's just like, my personal favorite. Yeah, it has to be Scream 2. But all of them are a fun time. Even watching Scream 3, it wasn't the best, but it's like, like, it's the one you love to hate.
Yeah, you have to watch it.
Yeah, just because, like, and since it was 5, it's like right smack dab in the middle. You got 2 really good ones before it, 2 really good ones after it, and then you got this shit show in the middle, like a shit sandwich.
I'm just hoping, like, we are 2 weeks out.
Yep.
God be with us on this one, and just, Lord, let me find a popcorn bucket. Like, I just want a popcorn bucket so bad.
Yeah.
And I don't want to waste gas driving all over to Cinemark.
I
But
know.
I might do it tomorrow. I might actually drive out and see if I can find one.
Okay.
I might just go to one, and if it's not there, then I'll just call it a dub. But I want one so bad. People are selling these shits for like $500 online already.
God damn. Oh man. Yeah. Wherever, capitalism, wherever there's a way to make a buck.
Yeah, I got my Ghostface shirt. I want my Ghostface bucket.
Okay.
I hope I found. I'll probably call them first, see if they have any.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I'll do that first.
I might join you on that. On that adventure because
yeah, I saw the times for Thursday night. So
okay,
we'll have to get on that before they sell it out.
Yeah, for sure. And now is the time because I know you follow some fan pages and the Scream Facebook page. They just they won't take their foot off our neck.
What's the funny part? Apparently, and I haven't run into it yet.
Yeah.
But apparently either it was Reddit or Twitter.
Yeah.
Someone actually spoiled it in the comments.
Yeah. I heard that too. I heard Nate was
someone deleted their entire post because someone spoiled it in the comments.
Yeah, I heard Nate had told me that he like, I know who the killer is. And I'm like, shut your mouth, shut your face. Like, I don't want to hear it. I will hear you. Like, I will bludgeon you right here, right now if you tell me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I heard that, but I'm just like, I don't care. Like, I don't care. Like,
I'm putting my money on new boyfriend and the dad cop. Okay, and I'm only saying that because we still, if we're going off of Scream 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
We still have an unaccounted for person in Vince, who is still a mocker. And remember, I told you I would come back to this when we got to Scream 5.
Yep.
There is a part of me that feels like we are getting set up for a mocker family reunion in 7. I feel like this is the lead into that.
I'm okay with that. I'm actually okay with that.
Stu has a sister.
Yep.
Right? And who's to say that sister didn't have more than one kid?
Exactly. I'm here for it. I am a Stu mocker. Like, he had a fan club. I'll be a part of it because I'm
only saying this in the realm of disbelief only because when we go back to Scream 5 and Liv was like, yeah, that's Vince.
Mm-hmm.
He's a mocker, and no one else knew he was a mocker. So it would make sense if because I feel like there's no way if they're as big of fans of this franchise as they've portrayed themselves to be,
right,
that they would just leave him out intentionally.
Yeah, they're building up something big.
And the fact that when you see the stills of Scream 6 and you see that still of it looks like Sam holding that Ghostface mask. That looks like the end of a movie to me, and that looks like we're gonna get a Ghostface that gets away. At least one.
Yeah. I'm gonna try to hold on to my edges for this Scream because I just know they're going to try their hardest to twist and turn everything. So,
well, there's a theory out there. So the one character that they said that the trailer spoiled him dying in the bathtub with the long hair, the Hispanic guy, he has on this shirt of this movie. I forget what the movie's called, but the movie is in Spanish, and it's apparently a story about a bunch of plot twists and a woman who's dealing with psychosis, but she finds out that it's not her, it's someone close to her doing these things. So it's a bunch of spoilery shit like that shirt, and then he's got the Babadook on the wall.
Okay.
And there's another movie on the wall that's kind of similar. So my guess is we're going to explore a lot of Sam's psychosis.
Okay.
And the shrine thing I'm interested in.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're leading into Stu Mocker. I don't know if Stu's ever going to come back, and I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
I'm saying that is the one legacy character that got left out. For a reason.
Yeah.
We touched on Sidney, Dewey, Gale, right? Randy, Deputy Judy, Billy Loomis.
And the only one left.
And even Tatum got a shout out in that
movie. It's the only one we haven't really Stu. That's it.
And when you go to that poster of the New York Transit and it has the Stu Mocker with the pink dot, I really do think that we're going to lead into either a really big conspiracy theory and we find out it has nothing to do with Stu, or we're going to lead into a conspiracy theory and it has something to do with his lineage.
Yeah.
Because Stu was a dirtbag too. Who's to say he doesn't have a kid running around?
Who's to say his bloodline is not fucked up too? I mean, it's been 30 years at this point.
Yeah.
Like, you know, do you feel like, just from looking at the trailer, do you think our girl Gale is going to make it out of this film?
I think if they're smart, they'll kidnap her at the end.
Okay.
I think if they're smart, they won't kill her, but I think they will kidnap her. If they're smart, they're gonna cliffhanger her ass. Because
I just looking at the trailer, I don't know if Gale is gonna make it out. I'm really not confident, because I'm like, maybe I'm just thinking of her as a character. Like, is Courtney Arquette ready to be like done with it?
I feel like they've already lost Nev, and they even said that a big part of the script had to do with Sidney, which is also why I feel like we're leading to a mocker. They said that Sidney was the front and center part of 6. But when she decided not to come back, they had to rewrite the whole entire script. So whatever story was about her was a big damn deal.
Okay.
And there are only 2 people left in that whole scenario, which is her and Stu, that they haven't touched on.
Yep.
So I think if they're smart, they'll leave her fate ambiguous, like they did with Kirby, and make us sweat it out. They'll kidnap her.
Okay.
If anything, if I want to see something crazy happen, like I want to see something outrageous happen, right? Span of disbelief. I want to see Kirby have something to do with this.
I mean, that wouldn't be a bad twist either.
I would like to see her have a part of this and be like, look, I just want to end this, or I'm vengeful, or I'm obsessed with this and I finally snapped. Like, I would like to see I would like to see a cop get dirty in one of these movies.
Yeah. That wouldn't be bad either. That would be a way to really just keep us.
Yeah.
It would be a good whodunit, because it'll be like, oh my gosh, you really, like, I want them to really keep us guessing of what the hell, who the hell is it, what's gonna happen. Like, I want to be surprised. I want to be shocked. I want to be blown away by, like, what? Like, I want to be in the movie theater losing my shit.
It's like The Incredibles. I'm waiting for something amazing.
Yes, like, literally, I am waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like, please
I feel bad because I know it's going to be like a packed house when we go, and I know we're going to get on everybody's nerves in that movie theater because we gasp so loudly.
Yeah. Of course.
It's going to be leaning into, like, do you see this shit?
Yeah.
I'm probably about to bust her in some snacks too. I feel like I'm about to.
Yeah, I know I am.
I feel like I'm about to wear the big coat and sneak in some chicken or something, because I'm not doing the.
Listen, I'm definitely sneaking in something. Absolutely.
You're looking like Brenda from Scary Movie,
right? You want some chicken? Pass me the chicken and I'll pass it down.
Girl, I am watching Shakespeare in Love. I'll be stereotypical, but no, like I said, I feel like if you're a new fan, welcome. If you're an old fan, let these kids have it.
Yeah,
we can riff on it all day,
and that's hard for me to do, to let it go and let the kids have it. It's really hard.
I can talk about it from a writing standpoint, what I enjoyed and didn't enjoy, but and they let the kids have it.
Yeah, as long as it can continue. Is the franchise has continued this long, so.
Now, this is something that I was waiting for us to do together, because why not? But the Ghostface number is floating around online.
Oh, yeah.
For you to call Ghostface, and I have the number.
Okay.
And I wasn't going to call it alone, so.
Okay.
Because I haven't found any information on what it's actually about. But I wasn't going to call it by myself.
You better than me, because I wasn't going to call it at all.
Hey, this is great promo.
Hello, Lovatic. Do you like scary movies? What about your favorite artist song in a scary movie? Let me give you something to sink your teeth in.
They've given us the soundtrack. It's Demi Lovato.
Okay, marketing. Okay.
Phone number. If you want to be texted first, press any key now. Messages will be sent to your number via community. Standard messaging and data rates apply. Consent is not a condition of purchase.
That's it.
Okay, marketing, come through. Because I know that little number was cheap. A little cheap number.
Now, here's the crazy part, though. I like the marketing from 2022 better.
You think so?
So I don't know if you were on TikTok that heavy when the movie first came out.
I wasn't.
If you go look it up now, and
this getting started really on TikTok.
This is going to be fun for you.
Mm-hmm.
Go and look up Scream 2022 hashtags. They did a TikTok series about these kids that go to Woodsboro. And they were getting on TikTok talking about Tara and Chad and who got attacked and this and that. And it ends with the girl going to the party and getting attacked by Ghostface, and Ghostface picks up the phone and looks in the camera. That marketing was so fun. Because like you got a new TikTok every week. And like the closer it got to the movie, you got more and more. And there's like the last couple of TikToks is her at the party.
Oh man, they not doing nothing like that for this movie?
I haven't seen it. I also haven't really been on TikTok because I've been doing other stuff. So, but I'm gonna check. But yeah, that one was
on TikTok, and I haven't seen anything floating around on my For You page. So
yes, look up like the 2022 Woodsboro High TikToks or Google it. But it was such a fun time. I enjoyed that last year. That made me want to see the movie.
Okay.
But yeah, so there you guys get a little fun. If nobody wanted to call Ghostface. I wasn't gonna do it by myself,
right? I don't want this nigga knowing my location. No.
Yes. So there you go, guys. A little fun from Ghostface. Apparently a Demi Lovato song on the soundtrack, and I'm just gonna wait for the next 2 weeks and enjoy ourselves.
All right.
I'm excited.
I'm excited too. So, what final thoughts are we gonna give the viewers, the listeners? What are we going to talk about next week?
So next week we're gonna do Urban Legend. Like we've been talking about Urban Legend, and I think we should just do the double feature episode, get both of them out the way.
Okay. Cool.
Because there's two of them. There's Urban Legend's Final Cut. We just try to find both of them, watch them, and then come back and give our thoughts. Because I mean, they're not the most complex movies.
Right.
They're pretty cut and dry.
Yes. The first one I enjoyed. I enjoyed the first one very, very much. So we can definitely deep dive into that. That'll be awesome.
We can get into Urban Legend because it was written by the guy that did Valentine. It's very Scream-ish. And part 2 has Anthony Anderson in it, who was also in Scream 4. So it's a perfect thing. And then we can roll into
that's rolling right down the hill. Right
down the hill. Let me check this out. I want to get my calendar dates right. So next Monday will be the 27th. And then the week after that is literally
the week before.
No, the week after next Monday. Next one is 27th. Week after that is the 6th.
Oh yeah, that because the 27th, that's the first week of March. So Yep, we right in there. Okay. Yep. Okay. Cool.
So we'll literally have one more episode, and then that Thursday night we'll go see Scream. And I don't know if you want to do special weekend update.
We can.
It'll be fresh in our minds.
Yep, we definitely can, because it's gonna be everybody gonna be talking about it. Because I already know the people not none of the movie reviewers that I follow, but I already know a few of the horror pages I follow. They're going to be all over it.
There's only one video that I'm waiting for, and he already has like the premiere date. And I don't know if you follow Critical Overlord.
No, I don't.
You need to.
No.
Hold on. He's a brother.
Okay.
But he does really good Scream content. He's like really tight with a lot of people who actually know what they're talking about. He doesn't. He does minor spoiling, nothing major.
Okay.
But he also calls out fake spoilers.
Okay.
Always on point. I love Critical Overlord. He's one of my favorite. Also, follow Craven Something Scary. They do a lot of Scream content. Zach Cherry does a lot of Scream content, and Beyond the Mask. Beyond the Mask.
I do follow them. Yep.
I love him, and the fact that he's coming out with a novelization of Scream, I'm so excited for, because he's giving us these, like, I watched the videos about him giving these backstories to characters that nobody talks about. Like, I just watched a video of him talking about what he wrote for Mickey Altieri's backstory, which is phenomenal.
Okay.
I love Beyond the Mask, one of my favorite channels to follow. So yeah, I'm waiting on Critical Overlord though, because he always he has a premiere. I'm gonna have to look it up real quick, of his premiere of because you know he's pretty big. Like, he's up there with like Vera Anon and all of them.
Oh yeah, so he probably got a
he's already seen it.
He's already seen it already.
He's already seen it.
Yep.
But yeah, let me pull up the premiere date so you can watch it. I'm gonna be right there. I already got it saved in my goddamn playlist, so it'll automatically save.
And what's his name? I'm gonna look that up right now.
Critical Overlord.
Okay.
Yeah, so he already has his it says his newest video is Ghostface First Reactions, coming next Friday, world premiere day. That's his newest video. It was 6 hours ago, and he literally posts every day.
Okay. That's rough.
And he does Jeepers Creepers. He does Chucky the TV series.
Oh, okay.
He does pretty much all the horror movies. He's got the movies about Scream. Saw updates, all that shit. So
okay.
I think you'll really enjoy his channel. And Podcast Now. Podcast Now is another channel that I follow of Scream content that does really good. But Critical Overlord, you know, he's a brother, so
I gotta support the brothers.
Yes, and probably has one of the sickest YouTube intros I've ever seen in my life. It is literally, it's a Marvel intro, but it's all horror movies.
Okay.
And I love it. It gives me goosebumps every time I see it. But yeah, he's dope. But we are literally at 2 hours.
See, we had 2 hours. Well, this is a good one. This was a
like, can y'all bitches wrap? I'm gonna get a wrap it up box.
All right, wrap it up. Okay, yeah. So yeah, thank y'all so much for listening. Y'all take care of yourselves. Be healthy. Be safe. Watch out for Ghostface, and we will see y'all next week.
Yes. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh.